Welcome. It is no accident that you have found your way to the Release the Genie podcast. What would you do with 3 wishes? And what if you discovered that you are in fact that very genie that could grant them? Well, join us now as we discover who our next genie is as we listen in and learn the stories of triumph, inspiration, and passion with some very special guests. And now, without further delay, your host of the Release the Genie podcast, Mr. Paul Rogers.
Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning from wherever you're tuning in from around the world. Oh my God, you are going to love today. I've got a fantastic guest who's very kindly agreed to be a genie. I met this great lady only a couple of weeks ago. We were at something called a Song for Life conference for the Creative Society. And this lady is a classic example of beauty and brains because she has a PhD and she's at Mind Heals. She's a visiting Rhodes Scholar lecturer for the USA and Canada. She also, listen to this, she's a personality development coaches for ages 14 to 18. So the most sort of difficult years to find the personality. So fantastic. And even then, she still manages to find time to be a international business development manager. Oh my goodness me. And she's taken out today some time. Let me present to you our today's genie, Rasini Bandara.
Hello. Hi, Paul. Well, I must actually tell you, see, I still haven't got my PhD. I don't know why you people are so after it. Even when we met for that conference, they were saying, Dr. Rasini. I said, wait. I will. But then I think kind of inspired me to get it very soon.
Maybe it's a subliminal message. But, to be honest, for today's purpose, you're going to be a doctor. And actually, we're going to be something slightly bigger than that. We're going to be a genie. So I think genie trumps doctor. So I think we're going to be good today.
I'm in the right color then.
I love the color. I mean, again, one of those messages, it said, dress in blue, dress in blue. So, yes, welcome to the show. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, wow. First of all, Paul, thank you so much for having me. I mean, it was quite a coincidence, isn't it? I mean, we met a few weeks ago for this conference, and then which went really well, very long. and at the same time, I was quite inspired by your story, listening to what you had to say, And then I realized that there's a lot that we think alike as well regarding so many things. And then, coming. So thank you so much for having me. It's a great honor. And I'm going to get
the pleasure is ours. I'm going to say thank you for everyone. So pleasure is ours.
So I have a program called My Journey, a talk show with Rasini, which you are going to be a part of it as well. So that's a part of the deal.
It's a return match. I love it.
Yes. So like I told you, I've been a bit unwell today, but then I think I kind of saved all the energy for this. However, telling a little bit about me, what can I say? I think you mentioned so many things. I'm 36 years of age. Let's start with a bit. So I live in Sri Lanka, and I've never been to Canada, but hopefully someday. What else? I am a mother to 2 wonderful kids. That's a full-time job other than what you mentioned as well. So I am a psychologist now. Always wanted to be a gynecologist, to be very honest. But then, destiny, fate, whatever terminology you give it. And here I am, a psychologist now, which I absolutely love. The work I do doesn't feel like I'm working. It takes a toll on you being a psychologist when you have to listen to so many issues and problems of people. But then it actually gives you a sense of gratification, satisfaction. When you're a part of somebody discovering their self, or else, seeing options clearly in life. And well, I think I always say this, that I do everything that I do for my parents, who are not physically with me. But I think I'm just a very humble human, taking their legacy forward and collecting merits for them. So that's how I would like to say a few things about myself.
That's
Thank you.
lovely. I mean, and I know that you are very passionate about what you do, and
Yes.
um, you also, even though you are an academic lady, you also bring to the table a lot of sort of personal understanding as well.
Yeah, because the thing is, Paul, like I know that so many people, I mean, we learn a lot from books, but then I feel that the best institution you can learn from is the society and people. So I absolutely love people. I think whenever I meet somebody, it's like a whole new learning experience for me. Everyone's story is different, everyone's struggles are different. And through that, there's so much to learn. I personally believe the fact that, you know, what you're going through today can be someone else's survival guide tomorrow.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
all throughout my life, I've met such individuals from whom I've learned a lot indeed. And I just want to continue that. I just absolutely feel so great around people. It's my dose of, oh my God, I can't take names of any drugs, but it's my shot of whatever you say. Yeah.
I mean, I love it because, you know, a lot of people, they quit learning and they stop. But, you know, you, even though you've got, you know, you're working on your PhD, you've still got that hunger to learn. I love that.
Oh yeah, it just never stops. I think it's just that I love to learn something new every day. At least, you know, like maybe even a quote, even something, even a movie. I mean, through so many things, you pretty much learn a lot. And it's not just you know, only from books that you learn. You know, people, movies. I mean, I'm a crazy movie buff. I love that. Every day I need to watch at least a little bit of a television series or a movie to feel normal. You know, that's like my time which I have, or read a page or two from a book. So everything just adds on, and then I'm craving. So now I just took a new venture, which I started learning international relations. I mean, I understand people and their relations, so how their personalities applies to the world and the decisions that they take is something that I'm really curious to know. So yeah.
That's really nice because, you know, people tend to forget that businesses are effectively people. And
Very
so,
true.
you know, if you understand people, then I can see how very easy that will apply onwards.
Very true. Very
And
true.
I saw that you were, you know, you help the sort of the 14 to 18-year-olds. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I work a lot with, I mean, the thing is, I always say this, when I'm around with teenagers, I feel like I'm living my teenage years again, which I missed in my life, to be very honest, Paul, because you know, my life up to about 13 14 years old, it was just rainbows and unicorns. I've had no problem. It was fantastic. I was the only child. I never had to share anything. I never had to fight with siblings, so it was perfect. It was perfect. But then, you know, my mother was diagnosed with a condition called brittle diabetes, which her sugar would shoot up to about 900 plus and then suddenly drop. So it's a very different kind of a diabetes. And where, you know, so there was no sense of control in that diabetes.
Mm.
So it actually took a big toll on me, myself, and my father. And then we were really struggling with that during my teenage years. And then my father got sick when I was 17 years old, and then he passed away when I was 18. So I actually had no sense how my teenage years just went by just like that. And then me being around teenagers and working with these age groups and just gives me that sense of fulfillment as well, you know, like as if I'm living my teenage years yet again with these girls and boys. And at the same time, Paul, I always believe that Now, this is a very crucial and a very critical age where your mindset, the development of your mindset is really important. And then, so it's actually pointless that you try to look into the issues of toxic adults. I mean, when they grow up, when they do not grow up with the right kind of mindset and they become so toxic in life, it's pointless as teaching them personality or else team building or whatever that is, leadership skills, which you can absolutely apply in that particular age.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm interested in. I mean, true, when you do a lot of corporate workshops, when you teach, when you do these kind of workshops for the corporates, true, a money factor is pretty much attached to it, whereas it's not the same as for school children. But I find much more fulfillment doing that for school children, because that's the generation to come. You know, why you are ignoring that when that time should be the time that you should invest a lot on their personalities. So I think,
No, and I can see that. And there's sort of so many people in the world playing catch up to get back to that time. So I think it's a very special time. And yeah, great work. Now, I'm going to ask you if you had one of your aha moments. If is there an aha moment or a genie moment where you suddenly sort of felt that you left the lamp?
Oh, well, I would say the thing is, Paul, like there was so many aha moments. I hope I said that correctly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's not just like one moment and I realized it, but then it was like a series of moments. I mean, like I told you, like when I was small, like I've never realized that, there could be problems in life. Because the thing is, like, my parents had me after losing two other kids, because my mother lost two sons, from stillbirth. So then I was born, and my mother was 42 when she had me. So I had a big age gap between my parents and myself. Whereas I saw that my friends' parents are still there supporting them, whereas I had to struggle a lot with, the illnesses and so many things. But then something that because my father was a very prominent figure here in Sri Lanka and in the administrative field. And he held many positions as, the secretary to certain, government organizations. And then at the same time, he was chairman to many organizations as well. And then I've always saw so many people around him. And there were so many people to look into what he wants. And then our house was flooded with people. And then it gives you a sense of ego, as a child, like it just boosts up your ego. But then, something that he always told me was that, see, this is all because that people are benefited out of me now. So once those benefits are not there, baby, that it's like all the flies that attracts towards the light.
Yeah.
The minute that the light is gone, there won't be people. And then I actually had this understanding. I really realized it, Paul, when my father passed away. All the people around him and everyone who was ready to do anything for us, suddenly they were gone. And I was so lonely, my mother and myself. It's just that it was just my mom and myself mostly. This was a massive realization to me. And like that, likewise, I've had many moments like that. That gave me certain life lessons, which my father had discussed with me, but I never realized.
No.
So even with friends as well, I realized that I was so available for people that, again, it was taken in a very negative way by friends. That they were like, oh, you are so available that you have all the time in the world to look into other people's problems, which I thought that they truly appreciated me being available. But then I thought, what, I'm not going to be available later on in life for people who has no respect for my time. So lessons after lessons, it came my way.
Yeah.
And I think so there wasn't any particular aha moment for me, but a series of moments
Yeah. Yeah.
that got together. And then I think even again in life, Paul, I think I got the right lessons at the right time,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
rather
I
than
think that's important, because being able to apply the life lesson, that's, it's it's one thing getting a lesson, but if you then don't action on it, it's just information. So I can see that you've sort of embodied that in your work. So yeah, that's
very
that's
true.
that's that's incredible. That's
Very
incredible.
true. Because the thing is, maybe some of the lessons, if I learned it maybe a little earlier in life, I wouldn't had the understanding. I
Mm.
feel that maybe then I think, whatever, terminology you give, God or Almighty, or else what the divine force out there, I think it's just directed me in a certain path that, I learned these lessons. Some was truly very difficult, very
Mm.
tough, but I think, like I said, that everything I've been through in life just demanded a better version of me. So it just, everything got collected like that, and then here I am today. So
That's fantastic
yeah,
advice, to show people that actually it is a journey, it's not the destination. And we get these tough calls in life, and at the time we mostly don't get it, but now, looking back, you can see it shapes where you're going. So love it,
very
love
true,
it.
very true, very
Well, look,
true.
I'm going to continue this really good sort of line of discussion, and I'm going to ask you now, what was or is some of your favorite quotes which have sort of
Oh,
helped you on your way?
wow. Actually, so my father used to say, I mean, I would take these two from my mother and father. So my father used to have these very favorite things of his, which he always used to tell me: never lose the human inside you, no matter how much the society demands you to. Well,
Wow.
his one was a little elaborated, so I've actually now made it my own quote.
That's fine.
I hope he won't mind. Of course, like I'm his baby. I have all the right to take it.
And to be honest, I think he will be just delighted that you actually are giving that wisdom to so many other people. So yeah, no, it's yeah,
Yeah. So
that's lovely.
something that I honestly believe, that you should never lose the human in you. You should never lose the values in you, no matter how much the society demands you to lose them. And so that is number one. And then there was another thing. It's a little longer. I can't exactly put it in a quote, but then I will tell you
Yeah.
that my mother used to tell me, do you know how you can identify someone who's very rich in life, in terms of education, in terms of material, whatever? So I used to think so many things in my head. Could that be the way they dress, or the branded clothes that they wear, or maybe the number of houses, or all that? But then she said, no, it's the level of humbleness you have in you. So she used to take the example of a paddy. So when it enriches, it bends. So she said, just like when the more rich you get in life, the more humble you become. So that is how people will realize it. All the people who have achieved so much in life, see the difference. They're so humble.
Yeah.
So the minute you see somebody who's not so humble, you know the fact that they have not grown up. They have not grown. That inside, they have not grown. Or they have not developed that real wisdom inside. So I think that's another thing.
I think it's beautiful, because I've got this really great picture in my mind of the reed bending, and that's amazing advice really there. So I'm pretty sure people will be able to really relate to that. So that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Oh, exactly. And
Um,
I would mention another one, since you said that one lady told three. So
Oh no, no. If you're on the flow, I am not going to get in the genie's way. You go for it.
So another thing about happiness, I would say the happiest people don't have the best of everything, but they make the best of everything. So they don't have the best of everything, but they truly make the best of everything. And
That's amazing.
that is one thing. I can go on, Paul, but I
Well, I know I could sit and we could talk for hours. That's the really nice thing. And no, it's those three there are absolutely top drawer. So thank you very much for that. So I'm going to ask you, is there anything you're working on at the moment? So what are you up to at the moment?
Well, Paul, I'm attached to this platform called Mind Heals. I am a therapist there. At the same time, they are non-executive director as well. So we are in the process of not only providing online counseling for people, but at the same time, developing this platform where we create the right kind of awareness about mental health and the importance of mental health as well. And it's through that platform only I do my program also, which is my journey. Like the quote that you mentioned, it's not the destination that matters, it's the journey. So when we meet people who are larger than life, who have reached so many heights in life, and we only see that, that amazing personality, but then we never speak about the journey that took them there.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to get to know that journey, because again, telling the core that, what you've been through in life, it's going to be someone else's survival guide tomorrow. So when all these people come together and when they speak about the fact that, the challenges they have been through, the number of rejections and the heartbreaks and the very challenging moments, even moments that they were really suicidal, but now they are here, they've really discovered life. I mean, for example, take your story. Somebody was very successful and then suddenly decided, I'm not happy, and I should do something which I should be happy about. And then going through a fatal accident, and then fighting cancer. So then imagine how inspiring that can be to another individual, Paul, who's maybe struggling to make a career decision, and somebody who's actually going through cancer. And maybe somebody who's been through a fatal accident and think that life is over. Imagine what your story can do to their life. So that's actually a process that I'm involved at the moment. And then again, like I said, working with kids and working with teenagers in giving them the right awareness, because nowadays people speak a lot about mental health. It's out there. I would say as a millennial, we never spoke about it. It was like much of a taboo for us. But then, because the minute that you say psychology or else mental health, people will completely connect it to schizophrenia and then mental asylum and then you're a cuckoo, you're a crack, and then it's changed now. But then, is it the right kind of awareness is always a question, because now of course people know about it a lot, and then a minute that you see somebody a little sad, you're like, oh, that person is depressed. Or if a child is a little active, oh, that child is having ADHD. So that's the wrong awareness. So spreading the right kind of awareness is what myself and the team at Mind Heals, we are actually working on these days. Yeah.
I think that's really important, because you're right that society is very quick to label and throw a label at someone and go, okay, you've got this. And it's kind of like, well, we've sorted you out because we got a label on it. But those labels can be very damaging.
Very true. Very true. Because like we've spoken also, I really like to establish the human factor in many things. Like, for example, like we've discussed, that it's perfectly all right that you're not okay. Like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said that I'm not okay, you're not okay, but that's okay. So even being a psychologist, I don't have everything taken care of, everything controlled. I too have my very terrible, horrible, miserable moments. And the thing is, there are times that I too need help.
Mm.
And I'm blessed with a set of people around me whom I turn to whenever I need that particular mental relief. And just like that, every one of us, we need it. We need somebody like that. I mean, whether it's a professional, whether it's a good friend,
Mm.
whether it's an adult or a teacher, people can be life changing for you. And in my life, at a time that I really struggled, I've had friends who were my foundation, who really supported me without having any knowledge in psychology. I've had teachers who changed my life, and I owe it to them. I mean, everything, I mean, who I am today, they have a massive role to play in it. And even the people who gave me the most um, toughest and the most difficult life lessons as well, I think. So like that, it's a matter of understanding that human factor in you, and feel the fact that it's all right that I feel emotional, that it's all right to talk about your emotions, and then talking about your emotions will not make you less of a man or less of a woman, is something that I really like to establish.
No, and very important. And no, the stigma is, it can and should be sort of got rid of as best as possible. But it's also something you said there that just because you are a happy person doesn't mean that you are 100% all the time happy. You're human, as you say. You will have the same emotions as everyone else.
Very true. Very true. Because, see, the thing is, let's say, for example, somebody who's teaching people positivity, or else you're a positivity advocate for positivity. But then, it's not that you don't get negative things in life at all. Of course, you will face it. But then through those things, and what you make out of it,
Mm.
how you direct it, is what is it all about, Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that you are completely shielded
No.
from it, but then how you really turn it in your life, how you use it
Yeah.
to be somebody, even though somebody who has been through something so negative, but then you make it so positive. You find a positive factor in it. You take it as something that has not come to you to pull you back in life, but to take you forward. That way of saying it is, I think, what we should really, really focus on.
I love that, because it really sort of, rather than life happening to you, life is happening with you, and that's it's part of what the journey is.
Very true.
Yeah. No, to be honest, fantastic advice so far. So, I'm pretty sure that you've been able to touch a lot of people's hearts and their minds, which is wonderful. So now we move to the real fun part of the show, where I actually get to ask you, as the very wise Genie, you've already proved your credentials on that. So I get to ask you 3 wishes. So are you ready, oh mighty blue one?
Oh, I wish this is so true.
Okay, so you may have already touched on this one, but what was the best advice you have received in your life?
Well, I think the best advice I've received in my life is maybe what my father,
Yeah.
what came from my parents. Never lose that human in you. I think I've always tried to. Maybe I might have failed in certain moments, but then I've always gone for a very quick recovery after that. So that is one thing, and also I think something, again, like my father and mother both taught me, is that for you to be good, someone else doesn't have to be bad.
Mm, mm.
So
You're absolutely right. There's not everything has a yin and a yang to it. It just is. So
exactly, because there is this very ugly competition that is created between kids, and whatever the way we are on this massive rat race, Paul, in life, in whatever we do, in terms of a career, in terms of school or anything. And there's this particular insecurity that we have, this fear that, oh my God, someone's definitely going to pass me. But then you just don't understand the uniqueness in your personality. So they've always empowered me to help others, and teach anybody what you know. And I've always done that. My mother has always encouraged me to do that. My father has always encouraged me to do that. And indirectly, they've just told me that, for you to be good, someone else doesn't have to be bad. So you can shine. And when you shine, you can, you know, just get translated to others as well. So that is something, again, I would say one of the best advices I've got in life. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And if I packed up shop and left now, I'd be very happy. But you've got two more yet to come. So
Bring
this
it
is going to be
on.
a good one. This is what advice would you give your younger self?
Ooh. Wow, I would say a lot of things, but I wish that I would have told my younger self that do not be available for people. Like another thing that I mentioned earlier, do not be available for people who just do not value you. I think for me, Paul, it's never the money factor that always pops out. I mean, if I'm given respect for my time and all my effort and everything, I truly appreciate it and admire it. I do a lot of work voluntarily because it gives me a sense of happiness and something that money cannot actually give. So, but the thing is, life has really taught me that don't be just available. Because do not. I mean, it's not that I put a price to it,
No, no,
but
no.
it's just that respect is above anything. So I think I would have told my younger self that. Yes,
Yeah.
that advice I would give. Yeah,
it's very good because especially somebody who works so hard to give, you have to be you have to protect your energy sometimes. Absolutely. Because there's only one of you and there's lots of people. So I think that's really good advice, and especially for anyone who's starting out in coaching and etc. That's unfortunately you can't save everyone. You just so you have to protect yourself.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Okay, so we're done well so far. Two up, and the last one. Here we go. And this one's going to be a nice one where actually we'll get to see what makes you tick a bit. So this one is what one personal habit do you have which you'd like to share, which sort of attributes to your success?
I think I would mention two.
Okay, good.
One thing I would say that I personally feel that I'm very humble about what I've achieved in life, humbled by the fact that I'm ready to learn from anything that comes my way, Paul, even from a smaller child, even from a teenager, that I do not get hurt just because maybe a kid knows more than me about a certain subject, or else maybe a teenager knows something more than me about a subject. I think even the smallest things, even about these boy bands or girl bands, I mean, I'm very interested to learn. So it has always come in handy for me in life. All these things that they speak, it actually has given me the ability to connect with so many younger kids that my I would say open-mindedness is something that I truly admire as a characteristic that I have. That I always try to look at life from another person's perspective, maybe empathy, if you take in that way. So humbleness and then empathy is something I think since smaller days I had in me.
Yeah.
Without knowing it was empathy. I've always had the ability to get into someone else's shoes and understand things, even though maybe I haven't gone through what they have gone through in life, but at least maybe to understand.
Yes.
Even to tell somebody, even in a time where I haven't faced loss, I was able to tell somebody, it's all right that you cry because you've lost your father. He was your person, or your mother was your person. And I've never ever told anybody be strong when they're going through tough time. Of course, you can't expect people to be strong. It's all right to, feel weak. So these things, yes, are things that I think as a person I would take tell it again, like humbleness, and then maybe empathy, open-mindedness, and the hunger
Yeah.
to learn is something, again, I would say, maybe, oh, you asked for one. I said,
Hey, I'm getting value each time you do. Hey, I get three wishes, and if I get more than that from you, I am very happy. So, no, I think that's really, really
I'm
nice.
greedy.
Yeah.
No, it's wrong, Jane.
That's fine. I'll run with that one. So, and so, I know you love learning and reading. So, is there any sort of one book at the moment you've sort of your go-to moment?
Well, I've read so many books in life, and well, and then there's always this one book which was like life changing for me, and it's one of my most favorite humans, Paul, and that is Nelson Mandela.
Oh,
I think if we are to talk about leadership, if we are to talk about a human, if we are to talk about wisdom, I think I can just give quotes like nothing, and I can just always bring him as an example.
mm,
So I've actually got it out as well. So this book,
excellent.
a long walk to freedom, is like it's my favorite book. And then sometimes when life is a bit difficult, I read a page or two from it
Yeah.
when I feel that I'm maybe in a time that I feel like I'm losing my human inside me and I need inspiration. So this is, I think, my go-to book. And with your permission, I would like to read a little
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
paragraph
please
from it,
do.
which I thought that I should really mention.
Mm,
It was during those long and lonely years that my hunger for the freedom of my own people became a hunger for the freedom of all people, black, white and black. I knew as well as I knew anything that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow mindedness. I am not truly free if I'm taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken away from me.
wow.
And I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, not only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can rest only for a moment, for with freedom come responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not yet ended.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is that. Oh, that is amazing. I mean, to be honest, if anyone, and I share what that is, that emotional response where if you're feeling not, you're losing a bit of humanness inside you, that's very powerful. What a wonderful quote.
Yeah, and so talking about Mandela, once there was this small incident, Paul, that I was doing my social psychology as as a module in my psychology BSc, and then my lecturer wanted us to do a presentation. So my presentation was on prejudice, and then actually what happened was I was thinking now how to bring this up. I had, by the time I figured out everything I can speak about prejudice, it was just 2 slides. And he's damn very well not going to give me any marks for 2 slides. So then I've had a certain plan and an idea, and then I went there and I saw all my friends got slides and slides of information and so many things. It was all about social topics. About aggression and so many other things, altruism and all that. So I had 2 slides which described stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination. And then I quickly connected it to racial prejudice, which I brought in Mandela in. And then I was talking about it, and I got really emotional because I was quoting from the film where Morgan Freeman acted as Mandela, and then Francois
Invictus.
Pina, yes, and Francois Pina was the
The
rugby captain.
Yep.
Yeah. And then his fiance comes and asks him the day before the great game with All Blacks, asks that, are you thinking about the game tomorrow? And then he says, no, tomorrow game is taken care. What I'm thinking is, how can a person go to prison, stay there for 30 years, and then come back and forgive every person who was responsible in putting him there? So,
It's huge. I mean, when you talk about humility, that has got to be the biggest, the most shining example
oh,
of humility.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the way he looked at people. I mean, very recently also, Paul, there was this video clip which I saw that Mandela has been questioned about his political views, when he really appreciated and admired, people like Gaddafi, and then like Fidel and all those people, and they are so your views, your political views, your examples are pretty questionable. And then Mandela says, a mistake that many leaders they make is that they believe that their enemies should be our enemies. There
Wow.
you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. That is amazing. Well, look, we could go on about this because I just I don't want this to stop. This is fantastic. But where can people find you? Because I know that they're going to want to talk to you and hang out with you and stuff. So where can they find you?
Well, well, nowadays things are very easy. They don't need to have they don't need to come to Sri Lanka to do it. But Paul, well, I'm available on LinkedIn as Rasini Bandara. Then you can obviously log into the platform which I'm attached to, which is Mindheals. So www.mindheals.org is where you can find not just myself, but there are so many therapists who are there. That initiative of having online counseling, the main reason behind it was that there could be times that you need a therapist or someone to talk to, and you can't be expecting to put an appointment and then
Yeah.
wait for days and days to speak to someone.
Mm,
Whereas at this moment I might feel that I need someone to talk right now. So
mm.
we have the platform where you can connect to any professional at any given time. So we are even ready. Our times are very flexible. So that is a sort of a platform we've created. And you can, of course, find me on all social media. On Facebook, I'm as Rasini Bandara. I have a page called Learn the Art of Public Speaking. And then I'm on Insta. My Insta handle is at Rasini Speaks. So that's why I speak a lot.
Yeah, don't worry. When it comes to speaking, I think we're good dueling partners on that. So, no, that's wonderful, and your energy you bring and your compassion and your humility, are enormous, and I'm sure everyone can feel that energy coming through the screen. So, so I'd like to say a big thank you for sharing your wisdom, for being a genie today. And I hope you enjoyed the experience of being a genie today. And yes, well, look, and we now know where we can find you. So I'm going to let you float away with the rest of the genies. And I'd just like to say a big thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for having me here. I mean, it's indeed a great honor. I truly wish that I had a genie of my own, which even, like I can have three wishes from, but then I'll fantasize that later on.
Yeah.
But truly, I mean, it's so great to connect to like-minded people who has so much of compassion towards the work they do, and really, really excited to bring you down to my program as well, where I get to take that spot of yours and put you in the hot seat and then ask you all the questions. But indeed, today was I mean, always every time I have a conversation with you, I think it indeed is a great learning experience for me as well. So thank you so much for having
No,
me.
well, thank you, and we're going to let this bromance carry on, and so thank you very much, and hope and you now know where to find her, folks. So we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.
Bye bye, guys.
Well, that's a wrap. You have been listening to yet another episode of the Release the Genie podcast with host Paul Rogers. Be sure to follow Paul on the LinkedIn platform and learn more of Paul's resources at www.takeactionacademy.ca. And until next time, as always, be mindful and be sure to release your genie. Thanks for listening.